Spring break 2022. We got to go to Billund to the Lego house.
So what are you waiting for? For the plane to be clean so we can board.
Yes, our plane was 2 hours late taking off to Amsterdam. But we finally got going. Overnight flight. And then we had to run in Amsterdam to get to our flight to Billund. So no film there. But here we are taking off for Billund. And before you know it, we could see Billund. And there's the Lego house below. And we made it. But our luggage didn't, at least not for 2 days. So we ran into Wiley, where we were staying, and I got some new clothes. And then the next day, we headed to the Lego house. Wasn't overly crowded. This was just after COVID.
Down to the history collection in the Lego house, trying not to trip on the steps. Ooh.
I was lucky enough to go on the inside tour a couple years ago, and I got to go to the Lego house, but I didn't go to the basement because we didn't have time. So I was super excited to go to the basement and see the history part of the museum, of the Lego house. I'd seen, when you go on the tour, you get to go to the vault and touch boxes and see boxes of Lego and see a history. But here in the Lego house, you get a sense of a history, like a history museum. There's old videos like this of commercials. And lots of Lego to look at. This is a really cool table. It's shaped like a stud. I think there are 2 or 3 in this room. I can't honestly remember, that are glass. And you can tell this has depth to it. It's got, I think, 3 or 4 levels. And it's kind of the history of trains. I, of course, was thinking of Bricksar and Jabbo. And Brick Trains, or Joey. So I filmed this probably a little longer than I filmed almost anything during my trip. So you can take a look. I'm sure if Joey and Jabbo were watching this, they'd be telling us what all these trains were. And I recognize some, but hey, I'll let you figure it out. And the table next to this, whereas you couldn't pull out old boxes, you could find them through this database, and then you could touch them and spin them around like I'm doing here. It's really cool. So I looked at tons of these. I was probably down here for an hour, maybe hour and a half, just looking at all kinds of sets. And then you can put them on a shelf that you get to keep. Then we went upstairs where we had lunch reservations. That's ordering lunch. You have different bricks that order your lunch. Actually, you're only supposed to have 4 bricks at a time, so that took a minute to figure out. But you put this in, that puts your order in, and then it goes into the kitchen, and it looks like robots are making your dinner. These little Lego characters, this little video. And then it will tell you when your food is ready, and you go up in this little conveyor belt with robots. Send your food down. And you get to choose from 4 sections on the menu. Make sure you have a balanced diet here, and this is what it's delivered in. In the next picture, there's some of the balanced diet. Then we went up to the Lego gallery, because that's something that's always different, or often different depending on how often you go. And this time, almost all the designs were by Lego designers, because this was just after COVID, and they hadn't had people, regular AFOLs coming to display. There were some in there. This is the gallery that you've probably all seen, the dinosaurs. Kind of cool. You could they took your photo there and put it on the wall. And then this is an area where you see at most Legoland Discovery Centers, where there's just amazing design of a city, a huge city, rural area, whatever. Obviously, this is kind of a festival. And then there was lots more in the Lego house, but the other place that I took a lot of photos was outside, because the first time I'd been there, it was cold and rainy, and I didn't have time to go on the outside. So here's some photos of the outside. And then this is Going in or going out, on the left side there, you see old Kurt Christensen's house. And then we headed for the coast where we saw these really cool people, statues in Viley. And so thanks for watching. These little torsos were also made at the Lego house.